Welcome to Pesto Comics Audio Edition. This is the entry for July 16th, 2025. Look up! Superman's triumphant return to the silver screen. Welcome back. I'm going to bury the lead here and just tell you that I absolutely loved Superman. I have a tendency to overhype things I'm into, so take my admiration with a heaping spoon of salt. That said, it was everything I hoped for and more. I'll get into exactly why that is in the main story of this post, but I want to tend to some business first. Last week, I sent out a poll about how long these posts should be. I have a tendency to make them tomes of 2,000 plus words, even crossing the 4,000 word threshold if it's a topic I speak to in depth. The overwhelming majority of you have voted for me to rein that in. It was split between 250 and 1,000 words, with a swing towards 1,000. I've heard you, and I'll try to keep both sides happy. These intros, under the heading Welcome Back, will be 250 words max. The main story will be 750. My goal and challenge to myself is to come in at those word counts exactly. I could have made it easy and just accepted the message to be a little more brief, but I like the exercise of trying to be exact. So here we are. I'm not counting project updates, work logs, upcoming posts, or release calendars in this total, just the main story and this intro. For those who listen, I'll continue to ramble freely in the super secret epilogue. I hope you enjoy this new format. Worklog. What I completed last week. I overhauled the Kickstarter release schedule. I finalized the cover for Project Top. I'll reveal that on June 30th. I worked on the outline for Project Hollywood. And what I'm working on this week. I'm going to try and complete pestocomics.com and pulpwriterly.com. And I'll send the outline for Project Time to my artist, Riccardo Ficini. And project updates. Number 1, From Parts Unknown number 4, is live and funded on Kickstarter right now. If you go to the Kickstarter, there's a link for a secret backer reward to give you a nice discount for you to be able to catch up on everything that you may have missed. If you've backed any of From Parts Unknown in the past, even if it was just the first issue, please check your email for a project update from that campaign, as there are secret rewards just for you in there. Number 2, Big Smoke Pulp Volume 1 is available on KU from now through August. There's 40 incredible stories from 40 excellent authors, including yours truly. You can read that on Kindle Unlimited through August 11th. And number 3, the call for entries for Big Smoke Pulp Volume 2 is now open. If you have a short story under 5,000 words, send it my way. You can find out more by clicking the link on the Substack or go to bigsmokepulp.com. Now, let's talk Superman. Main story. Disclaimer. There may be mild spoilers to the movie here. I'll do my best to avoid them, but if you want to go in clean, save this post for a later time. And yes, this disclaimer counts towards my 750 word cap. Fixing past disappointments. I'm a Superman fan. I'm not quiet about it. He's the character that got me into comics in the first place with Death of Superman. Although Richard Donner's Superman the movie is a classic, and Christopher Reeve is a definitive Superman, it just never felt like the Superman I knew. Superman Returns was a letdown for several reasons. Brandon Routh was brilliant casting, but the story made absolutely no sense. He fortunately gets a huge redemption in the Arrowverse with Crisis on Infinite Earths. Man of Steel was much closer to what I wanted, but was still too dark and brooding to be the Superman I knew from the Triangle era. TV got much closer with the cartoons and the live-action TV shows, though the less said about Dean Cain today, the better. But on film, it was never quite right to me. The Silver Age returns to the silver screen. Although Superman the movie came out in the midst of the Bronze Age in 1978, Richard Donner has always said he took inspiration from the classic Superman he grew up reading. The Silver Age influences are clear, from Luthor's ridiculous plan, his bumbling henchmen, and the classic yet utterly nonsensical ending. Gunn's Superman was originally touted as an adaptation to All-Star Superman, but he eventually corrected that to being more influenced by it, in which Morrison and Quitely clearly harken back to the Silver Age. Nothing is off the table in this era. There are no concerns that audiences won't get it. Interdimensional portals, kaiju fights, flying dogs, multiple superheroes that just exist without needing further explanation. If it's fun, it fits. Part of me hopes that this seeps back into the new age of comics as well. A topic for a future post. James Gunn gets Superman. Zack Snyder's Superman was a god amongst men, an immovable object with a heart of gold, one that didn't fit in his dark universe. The plan had he been allowed to fulfill it based on the Snyder Cut, was to corrupt that heart entirely. I've said in the past that I enjoyed Man of Steel, even with its many flaws, but I loathed everything that followed it, and the Snyder Cut gave me no solace. Where Snyder liked Superman but had a different take on him, Bryan Singer didn't seem to care for Superman one bit. His only influence was Donner's films rather than the comics. It made Superman Returns a muddled mess with very few redeeming qualities despite Brandon Routh's best efforts. David Cornsweet, directed by James Gunn, is the Superman I've been waiting for. He's the most human Superman we've seen since Smallville. He's at times frustrated, overwhelmed, disappointed, and truly joyful. He's the most human he's been ever. It may seem blasphemous and possibly guided by recency bias, but Reeves' Superman always felt a bit more distant while donned in a cape. Still not perfect. I don't have many gripes with Superman, but I have one, and it's kind of a spoiler. If you want to stay up here, just skip to the next section. Ultraman isn't Ultraman, but calling him that spoils the reveal anyway. We know who that character is. Why not make up a name until we have the reveal where we get the character's proper name? A nitpick, yes, but one that I couldn't shake. Excited for the future of the DCU. All said, I positively adored this film. Granted, I'm a Superman fanboy. I liked every Superman movie when I watched it. I could get past their flaws and just appreciate that I was seeing the Man of Steel on the big screen. Even Superman Returns, which makes Superman 4 The Quest for Peace look like high art, had me buzzing as I left the theater. But I'm convinced that this is more than that. I did my best to temper my expectations. I had been hurt repeatedly with Superman's film interpretations. This time, I found myself wiping away literal tears of joy as the credits rolled and Krypto put his head on Superman's shoulder as they watch over the Earth from above the stars. This is the Superman I've been waiting for, and I can't wait for more. Did you watch Superman yet? What did you think? Am I right? Wrong? Just a fanboy? Let me know in the comments. And now, what's coming up on the Substack? Last week I mentioned I've been playing with this data wrapper tool, and one of the things I found is that it actually keeps it up to date on every post. So you could technically go back in my post, and as long as it's using this data wrapper thing, it'll give you the most up to date of what's coming up on the Substack. So let me tell you what's next. This Saturday, post number 100, and what I've learned about Substack. So as I mentioned before, I'm going to make a big chunk of that free, but I'm still trying to keep within that 1,000-word limit. So the bulk of it will obviously be behind the paywall, because I don't want to short those good people who've paid for a subscription. And on Wednesday, July 23rd, Con Journal. My weekend at Wayside Comics and Cocktails, and rethinking the local comic shop. And on July 30th, this is a big one. What's to come? The next 6 months of Pesto Comics. There I'll be giving you previews of everything I have planned, not just what's coming over the next 6 months, but more like the next 8. As I'm reworking the Kickstarter schedule, I have plans really through the end of next year, but what I'm ready to share, I think I'm good up until March. So expect that title to change just a little bit. But yeah, I have big plans over the next few months, so really excited to share what I can, as I actually have some tangible items that I'll be able to show you. And there's a lot more coming up. If you're really curious, you can find it all on the Substack post. Upcoming appearances. So as I mentioned, on Saturday, I'll be at Wayside Comics and Cocktails in Newmarket, Ontario. So if you're in the Toronto area, it's well worth the drive up to 404. I highly recommend it. I know that highway's a nightmare, but if you're actually in Toronto, and you want to take the GO train, it's actually just up the street once you get off the GO train. So you could even come down that way if you wanted to check out the shop. I always recommend it. I really do love it there. Omar's got a really special shop that I'll never stop screaming from the rooftops about, and it's not just because he has me over. I honestly just enjoy hanging out there, so any excuse to drag myself out to Newmarket, I'm more than happy to take, because I really love spending the day there. And I hope you'll come by and do it with me. And if you miss me on July 19th, you could find me again on September 13th. Just a couple weeks later, I'll be in Toronto, David Pico Square, for Word on the Street. My goal is to have a new project, one that won't be running through Kickstarter, available there before I even make it available to the wider public. So it'll be kind of like an exclusive for a very short amount of time. We'll talk about that on the release calendar. But if you're in the Toronto area in the last week of September, highly recommend you coming by. It's a free event, so you just kind of walk through, come find me. I'll be happy to see you. And then, of course, I'm still on the wait list for Fan Expo Canada, Toronto Comic Con, and Calgary Expo. And I will be attending New York Comic Con in October on the Saturday and Sunday. So if you happen to be there, let me know. I'd love to make a friend while I'm down in New York for a couple of days. And now the reworked Pesto Comics release calendar. Although I mentioned I'll be talking more in depth on the 30th, right now I'm still using these project names before I reveal all. I'm kind of burying the lead a little bit, but I have projects out to 2027 on this list. So you can really take a look, but a lot of them are under code names. So if you're really curious, go to the Substack, check it out. But I'll tell you what the next 3 are. So I have From Parts Unknown number 4, live right now, as you know. You can find that on Kickstarter until August 1st. A few short days later, I'll have Naked Kaiju Woman number 2 coming out on September 3rd, 2025. That's a Wednesday. Here's hoping that's a big one and we can maintain and surpass that momentum that we got with the first Naked Kaiju Woman. While that's all happening, I'll have the new project that I'll be announcing in a couple weeks coming out on Kindle Unlimited. It's called Project Hop. And then on October 29th, we will launch Big Smoke Pulp Volume 2, running through November. The first edition did really well, and I did a couple of exclusives for that, which I think is something I'm going to replicate with Volume 2. So if you enjoyed the exclusive you got on number 1, I can recommend doing it again for number 2. I think it should turn out really well. I'm reading through all of the stories now. We've received about 60 thus far, so I'm a little bit behind in reading them all, but I'm enjoying a lot that are coming through. So it's going to be a lot of difficult choices made with this edition. And in the new year, January 7th, we started off with Project Cut. Again, this is something I'll happily share with you on the 30th and tell you what the title behind that is. And then we'll follow it up with a really big project. Right now, it's called Project Hollywood, but there's a lot behind it, which I'm very excited to share. That'll be coming February 25th of 2026. So there's a ton more, like I said. I have things listed through 2027 right now. This whole table is subject to change. I think the closer the date, the more firm and the more you can trust it. But as far as the things that are really far out, this is all kind of a plan. And I reserve the right to change it as we get closer to it. But if all goes well, I think we'll be able to maintain this pretty steady clip as I'm already receiving a lot of the art for the projects listed on this table. So very excited for the years to come with Pesto Comics, and I hope you are too. And on the Instant Ink Comic Book Podcast, we have our second conversation with James Ferguson. Again, James is really awesome. He comments on a lot of the posts. I won't be surprised if he comments on this one too, because I know that he actually listens rather than reads, which I don't mind. I love it, actually. At least I know someone's listening and not doing this for nothing. He did comment on the photo that I used, that it's a relatively popular one. And I apologize for scraping that, but it's so eye-catching. But regardless, the conversation is even better than the thumbnail will let on. So I highly recommend that you listen to this episode. It's episode 55 of the Instant Ink Comic Book Podcast. And again, as always, you can sign up to the Substack. I'm still a little bit behind in getting everything posted, but once I'm caught up, then I'll have it on autopilot as, of course, we record ahead. So once a page is done, I'll get it on the Substack and it'll just send to you once the second episode of each 2-parter is out, and you can appreciate the art without having to listen to us ramble on live and just see what the finished product is. But I always recommend you listening because we have some really good conversations. And again, you can listen just audio if the video feels like a bit too much. It's on Spotify, it's on Pocket Casts, it's on all kinds of different platforms. So it's not necessarily something you must watch. There's always good conversation being had on this podcast. And all that said, I want to thank you for listening once again. So I gave myself the challenge of trying to get the whole post in 1,000 words. There are certainly things I didn't cover and things I didn't leave out. I could have talked about this movie for another 10,000 words given the opportunity, but I'm going to take the challenge to heart. And if it means that more people will read the posts without getting overwhelmed, then so be it. Same goes for the audio. I know these have been getting longer and longer as I add more and more to the newsletter. So I'm hoping that by condensing it and really working on brevity and all that, I can actually just give you more with your time. So here's to it. It's something I'm going to keep trying for the next few posts, and hopefully it sticks. I think it should. I enjoy the challenge of trying to hit a specific word count. Like this one hit 1,000. We did it. And full disclosure, I've written Saturday's post already. That one is 1,000 words as well. So I'm enjoying the challenge, and I think it's making the newsletter better, if I'm completely honest. I could talk about things for a long time, but if I've learned anything, it's that sometimes it's better just to stop and just really distill your point down as much as you can and get the little bit out. That's not always true with this epilogue. This is me ranting and raving about whatever is on my mind as I record, which is the fun of it. But I think for the newsletter, being a little more curated, being a little more on point, I think it's better for the platform. So hopefully you feel the same way. Of course, let me know in the comments if you listen this long and you like the new shorter format. Hopefully it's something that sticks. We'll see. It also does allow me a little more space to maybe go somewhere else with extra thoughts that I have. There's all things I enjoy commenting on and talking about. And although I've been trying to be a lot more aggressive on the socials, I'm always rethinking that because I feel like it takes so much out without giving so much back. So I always worry that I'm spreading myself out very thin. Right now I'm on Threads and Blue Sky and Twitter and Instagram. It's only 4, and 3 of them are pretty much the same thing. Like if I post on one, I post on all 3 the same way. And yet I'm just not feeling the joy that I get out of the newsletter. Wondering if there's another way to get the same buzz that I get writing the newsletter through socials. So maybe it'll be doing longer threads on those. I don't know. Or is it doing Medium posts? You may know that I'm working on a YouTube channel. Part of that is if you watch the Incident Comic Book Podcast, you can tell that my background sucks. Just flat out, it's not nice. I'm working on it. It involves me kind of reworking my entire working area, both like my day job working area and where I record, literally flipping it all around. So I have like my equipment and everything I need to do it. I have a nice mic. I have a nice lighting rig. I have everything I need to make a decent looking channel. I even have some scripts set up so I know what I'm talking about in the first few episodes. I'm ready to do it. The only thing that's holding me up is my mess of a workspace. So I'm going to get that cleaned up. I'm going to make it a lot better. And I'll be ready to start recording. My goal is to get that out in August. I don't know that it'll happen for sure, but I want to make sure that 1, I'm ready to go when I'm ready to go, and 2, that much like the newsletter, I'm prepared in advance. I don't want to be guessing and grasping every week for what I'm going to write about. I've talked about it with the Substack before. Much like my production schedule for the comics, I know what I'm going to be writing about on the Substack for months. I'm pretty sure I'm good until the end of the year, with a couple of gaps in there where I need to think of something to write. But for the most part, I have a really good sense of what I'm writing about for the next little while. So I think I need to do the same with the YouTube to feel good about it. The other thing too that I'm pondering, and if I should do it or if I'm going to do it, is if I have a nice setup and if everything is the way I want it, do I do the same with the newsletter? Do I just record myself talking like I do now, reading out the newsletter, but do it as a video? You can look at my mug while I read it out, and maybe I throw in some visuals here. The audio, of course, will still always be available via whatever method you're listening to it now, but you'll also have the video available as well. Who knows? We'll see if that works. It might be adding complexity to something that right now I'm able to do quickly and easily because of the audio format. I don't have to worry about my setup and the lighting being right and my cat's not in the way and all that fun stuff. I just speak into the mic and we're done. So who knows? Anyways, lots of plans, lots of ideas, lots of things I might work on or might not. My plate is full and I'm always filling it with more. Sometimes my eyes are bigger than my stomach. Again, I'm not feeling the burnout at all right now. I really was a few months ago, and I don't want to return there. So I need to think about what is valuable and what's not. But one thing's for sure, you guys are valuable to me. It means a lot, especially if you listen all the way to the end with me rambling and talking about God knows what. I always appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll talk on Saturday. I really appreciate you. Have a good one.